I met somebody who told me about Tulum, packed a little bag, got on a plane, and I fell in love with it instantly.
Meet Melissa Perlman, who moved from New York City with a fearless attitude and a dream of running a hotel in Tulum, Mexico.
I packed up my apartment and brought all the things down that I thought I might need to start a hotel.
With no practical experience, Melissa hustled to make her vision a reality.
I'm missing that fear gene, you know, the fear of failure gene. Then I was like, what the hell have I done here?
And now she runs a popular beachfront resort where people come to rejuvenate their mind, body, and spirit.
Are you ready to work out with us?
This is where the home of Bikini Boot Camp, right?
Forward fold.
Melissa not only found her calling in Tulum,
I love being able to combine everything that I love to do into my business.
she also found love and is now raising a family in paradise.
We'd run into each other like at the gas station, at the bank. Like, hi, how are you? Bye. And we wound up making a decision to live together and have a child together and share our lives. I'm very happy. Look where we are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're here in Tulum, Mexico to meet Melissa Perlman, who's originally from Arizona, but now lives as an expat down on the world-renowned Maya Riviera. In the past, Melissa traveled all over the world and was always left wanting more. Eventually, she risked it all to follow her dream of opening her own beachfront retreat. So let's check out one of the hottest places in the Caribbean to relax and rejuvenate and meet the brains behind this beautiful vacation destination. Knock, knock.
Come on in.
Hi, I'm Savannah.
Melissa.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm so glad you're here.
So excited to be here. It's so beautiful.
My name is Melissa Perlman. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona, and I moved to Tulum. So I was thinking that we'll go show you around Amansala.
I love it. Let's do it.
I have two kids. I have a 6-year-old son named Dylan, and I have a 2-year-old named Leia, and I have a husband named Sergio. I guess a good place to start showing you around would be my house.
Okay.
We live here on the beach at Amansala, my hotel. For a long time, I actually lived in a room. And then I had my second child, and I was like, it's kind of tight. So I got the idea to build my house on the corner of the hotel property right here.
Your casa.
Mi casa es tu casa.
Ah, thank you.
I spent all my childhood in Phoenix, and I realized I didn't want to spend the rest of my life there.
Wow, this is really gorgeous.
And then this is a little patio where we have breakfast. And I wanted to move to a big city, and I pictured New York to be very international, to be fast-paced, to be exciting, to be glamorous. And, you know, it pretty much was, to the point that it was overwhelming.
She got caught up a little bit in the New York lifestyle, which for a while was very much to her liking.
I was in New York for about 6 years, and I worked for myself all the time, but it's really a distinct type of person who wants to stay there for their whole life.
So what, I mean, how does this compare to the way you were living in New York before you came down here?
Night and day. I loved it, but I just found myself feeling kind of empty and meeting a lot of people, but not really knowing that many people. Then I started to find myself going through the motions. And I thought, wait a minute, like, I don't have to be here.
And what were you doing that you were able to just sort of bail when you were in New York?
I was actually working on my own project for a guide to the world's best places to rejuvenate the mind, body, and spirit. And in doing that, I realized that there wasn't the kind of place that I really was looking to go to. You know, and I was sort of craving more nature. I love being outside. I love being in a warm climate. And I was just feeling sort of claustrophobic in my studio apartment when there was this whole wide world out there to explore. And that's when I decided to make a change. So I came down and
Ditched New York.
Ditched New York, and here I am.
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Leia.
Hi, Leia.
You ready to go to school, Leia? Ready to go? Why don't you come with me? We're gonna drop her off at school. I'll give you a little, you know, a day in the life here of what's going on in Tulum. Oh, Leia. All right, let's hit the road.
Tell me about a typical day.
Well, a typical day is, you know, get up around 6:45,
Yeah.
get the kids up, and then I drive them to school, and normally stop by one of my favorite taco stands and have a little breakfast. We're gonna take you there.
Oh, fantastic.
Tulum is its own little village. It's really like having this big extended family. Good morning. ¿Cómo estás? I know the teachers at the school. I know the woman. I know her children. And you have a lot more interpersonal relationships. Kind of like living in the olden days. And I really like that it's not superficial. Okay.
Oh, she loves it. Bye.
Bye, Leia. Have a good day, sweetie.
Does that mean we get to get tacos now?
Yeah, exactly. It does. It does. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Anything you don't eat that I should know about?
No.
You eat like goat head? Just kidding. Dos de queso y dos de pollo de barbacoa. Por favor. Gracias.
Melissa was always an adventurous child. She knew she was thinking about something different and something bigger.
Gracias.
So I never really held her back. Of course, when she told me she was going to Tulum, I thought, oh, this is probably just one more adventure for her. And we'll see what this one will lead to, because I didn't even know where Tulum was.
Oh my goodness. So good.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Oh my
What do you
gosh.
think?
So good. Yeah.
Had you traveled much? Were you like a traveler when you were in
No.
college and young? No.
No, but after college I moved to Tokyo. You know, I didn't know anybody, I didn't speak Japanese, and it was a little bit of a crazy idea, but I wound up going there and staying 6 years and learning how to speak Japanese.
Wow.
I wound up helping American companies find ways to do business in Japan. But during that time, I traveled a lot around Asia, and it opened up my eyes from traveling. And after 6 years in Asia, I decided to move to New York. And it was freezing. It was the middle of February. And I met somebody at a party casually who told me about Tulum. And I was like, to where? To what? Packed a little bag, got on a plane and headed down here. And I fell in love with it instantly. And then I found myself coming back here every year, never imagining I was going to make my life here. But it kept calling me back and calling me back. And that was like 13 years ago.
And here we
13
are.
years
at the
later,
taco
we're eating
stand, dropping
tacos.
your daughter off at school.
Exactly. Who would have imagined? All right, now we're ready to start the day. Everybody thinks it's so easy to run a resort. They come down and they're like, oh my God, you're living the life. This looks so amazing. But little do they know what's going on behind the scenes. There's no electricity in this area, and there's no running water. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into running a place that people don't think about, like electricity and water.
Yeah.
You know,
The
which
basics,
is
really.
the basics. You know, running a hotel is like having a little village. Walk right through here. Amansala. It's like an enchanted garden, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
This is one of our smaller rooms, but I love this room because you're right on the ocean. I made the decision that I wanted to leave New York. And I came up with this idea for a healthy, fun vacation where people could rejuvenate themselves from the inside out. And right away I was like, yeah, that's it, bikini boot camp.
You've built this whole hotel. Was that anything you had experience in
No.
before you came down here? No.
No, I just kind of did it by instinct. I packed up my apartment and brought all the things down that I thought I might need to start a hotel, which consisted of a lot of sheets and pretty curtains and Buddhas and incense and decorative things. Well, my game plan when I arrived to Tulum was to find an existing set of cabanas or bungalows that need a little sprucing up, where I could maybe bring some people in to do my like healthy wellness program and maybe do it, you know, like for a month, maybe a month and a half, and then go back to New York. But I wound up coming across a place that was an abandoned set of cabanas. And there were a few guys drinking beer with music playing, and they were kind of putting cement, throwing it all over. And I walked up and I thought, wow, this place has potential. And I started looking around and I'm like, this is it. And I started talking to the workmen. And I actually told them right there, I said, you need a window in this room. And I took a stick and I drew out a window in the wet cement and I said, ventana. And they're like, see, okay. And they started breaking out the window. And then I looked at them, I'm like, puerta, you know, and I started designing a room with them right there. And they, you know, they gave me a beer. Pretty soon I'm down there with the music and I'm in the construction crew for like 2 hours. And then the owner showed up and I introduced myself and I said, you know, ¿cuánto cuesta? Like, how much for one night, for one room? And he told me, and I said, how much for a week? And then how much for a month? And then I said, how much forever? And they would look at me like I was crazy. And we sat down right then and there on a serviette, on a napkin, and started writing out a deal. Then the fun really started. Then I was like, what the hell am I done here? I put away about $50,000, and I thought that would be enough. But my $50,000 ran out really, really fast. And I remember being at the bank machine and then saying like balance $22.70. And I was like, oh no. But I was still trudging through, going for it and moving ahead. So I was thinking I'd give you a tour of our yoga room that's in front of the ocean.
Oh, gorgeous.
When I ran out of money, some neighbors that lived down the beach came over and they said that they had a friend, a couple, who needed a place to stay for a few weeks. And I showed them, I said, well, I have one room finished that actually has a working toilet and windows and doors and everything. And they were like, yeah, it's fine, we'll take it. I think I'm missing that fear gene, you know, the fear of failure gene. So Ronnie was his name. They moved in on like a Thursday. And Saturday was payday in Mexico, so all the workmen were around. And they were asking to be paid. And I was like, oh, but I'll give you 500 pesos. And then next week, you know, I'm like trying to get him to finish the job. So Ronnie comes over and he said, why not just pay you $1,000 right now? And we'll just figure it out at the end of our stay. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. So with that $1,000, I was able to finish another bathroom, another door, another room, and then I rented it to people who walked in off the beach. That's how I financed the project.
I need to do some yoga. It was all just taken away?
Yeah. An owner had showed up that had title to the property. It was like my worst nightmare.
I want to know about you guys.
Sergio and I met each other like 10 years ago.
The timing worked out.
Yeah, the timing worked out.